My name's Richard, and I work for the Orange County Library System. We're here at the Washington Park branch in Orlando, Florida, and we're capturing memories from our community. Please tell us your name and where you're from.
My name is Charolotte J. Chambers, and basically I'm from Orlando, although I was born in Moultrie, Georgia, but I was 2 years old. In 1934, I came. My mother brought me here to live in Orlando when a lot of Washington shows was nothing but mostly woods.
That's fascinating. So what is your earliest memory of this area?
Well, my granddaddy, my mother's dad, Roy Davis, used to bring us fishing in different parts. You know, he used to work for Thomas Lumber Company. That wasn't that big as it is now. And then, in fact, we were the only ones that he'd let come out, black people that he'd let come out fish. Mr. Thomas had a big, out behind his house, a big lake out there. We used to go over there fishing. Everywhere we did, we walked everywhere, you know, during that time. My dad didn't get a car till later. He worked for B.F. Goodrich. West, they call him, everybody called him West. This was in 1934. I was 2 years old when I came to Orlando. So I'm 80 minus 1 now.
Wow, congratulations.
But I feel that, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm blessed.
What were some of the challenges you were faced growing up during that time?
Well, we had one elementary school where we have a few kindergartens like in different neighborhoods. Like on this side on Long Street was Miss OC's kindergarten, and on the other side over near off Paramore was Mrs. Croon's. Those were the two little schools for, they call it pre-K now, but that's what it was, and we enjoyed those schools. And when I went to my first grade, it was at Holland Street School. That was at the corner of Orange Blossom Trail and, well, we call it Kentucky Trail then. It wasn't Orange Blossom, it was dirt, you know, and dirt streets and everything, and a big ditch on the other side of, you call it Orange OBT now, but it wasn't OBT. It was just a trail, Kentucky Trail, went all the way up and it stopped before you got to, I can't remember where it stopped, but it didn't go too much further than it was Holland Street on one side and Kentucky Trail on the other side. Those are my memories when I went to elementary school. And it was nice. It was segregated. And but I didn't know anything about segregation. You know, I guess the older people knew. But during that time, we very seldom heard anybody say anything about segregation. We were just happy children.
Sure. When did you come to the realization as you were growing up that segregation did exist?
Well, I think I was about 7 or 8 when we were living on, first we lived on Beg Street, almost up to Goodrich, where my daddy worked. And that was just, downtown was Orange Avenue. That's the downtown part, McCrory's, Crest, and with the 5 and dime stores, and the First National Bank right there on the corner of Church and Orange Avenue. That was our bank. And how did I realize that it was segregation? I had an inkling of it when I was about 6 or 7, I think 7 or 8 maybe, because one night after we moved from Beg Street, we lived on Washington, right in front of Mrs. Croon's, which was a school teacher in our area. And at that night, one night, I had a little dog. I'm crazy about that little dog, Trixie. And one night, he got out the back door and was running around to the front, and it was dusk dark. And I thought it was a parade, but it was the Ku Klux Klan marching. You know, I didn't know what it was, and I run out there to get him. And then I heard my mother screaming in the back, "Come back here, come back here, what are you doing, come on back." And so I ran back, I just thought it was just a parade. But that's the first time I realized, and then my mother had to start talking to me that I have to be careful. And, you know, we can't go out at night walking like we want to and all. But then I start realizing, hey, this is what my mother tell me: stay back with your people, and you know, and most of the people we stay with, you know, hang around church, be baptized in the Carter Tabernacle in 1934, and so just the way of life. We were just with the people I played with in the neighborhood and all, and then we only usually we go to shopping like on Saturdays. You know, it's like a big event. We get all dressed up, you know, to go shopping on a Saturday. We had a lot of fun, but I never ran into any hard, you know, because we knew the black kids had their own schools and the white kids had their own school. And as I developed into, they didn't have middle school, they just had kindergarten was privately owned by somebody in the neighborhood. And the school, first grade, you went into the first grade, you went to the city school then. And that was Holland Street School. But Mr. Golden had a little store across the street there by the school, and we just loved it. It was nice. The teachers were very strict and everything. We didn't have any law saying you can't hit the kids, so you better keep in line if you're in school. But we had good teachers, and I think our teachers loved us. Well, at least we thought they did. As I grew from Holland Street School, then the only high school was black. Our black school was Jones High, which is still in operation. Thank goodness they didn't change that. They didn't let them change that name, thanks to Bill Harris and his group, because I was living in Hartford. I had moved to Hartford when all that started. They wanted to change the name of Jones High to something else, and I'm glad they didn't, because there's a lot of history, black history in that. And elementary school, we loved. I had fond memories and all. I tried to make good grades, like I always tell my grands and my great-grands now. I'm so old now, I have great-grands. But God has been good to me. God through Jesus is all we need. But my life in Orlando, by the time we got to just before high school, we realized that, you know, segregation, you know, but not many people were doing too much about it then, because most of the black people, you know, like, don't want to get in trouble. And my dad had a good job with Goodrich, and my mom did day work, and she took in washing and ironing too. And she had a real nice lady from England. I'll never forget, Mr. and Mrs. Slingo. They lived over, it was across Orange Avenue. I forget what street they lived on. I think it was near Primrose. But anyway, they were very nice white people, and I loved to hear them talk, because they had that English brawl. But every time she come to pick up her clothes, my mother had done, she'd always tell me, she'd give me $1, and she said, "You're going to be a nurse." And I just like that. Nobody never told me what I'm going to be before, you know, and I liked the idea that I was going to be a nurse. And I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "You're going to be a good nurse." And she had that way about her. And
what would you, as you were growing up, anything that you can recall?
Oh, she told me, my dad didn't talk that much. He was just a good, hard-working man. But he would let me pick out his, you know what a limit is? A limit?
No.
Like when you're playing the numbers?
Okay.
Okay. they had a little book, yellow book, with tickets in it.
Okay.
You can get one ticket, or you can get a whole limit, the whole thing. And my dad would let me pick out his numbers. And one time I picked out a whole limit, and the whole thing came. So that means we got a lot of money.
Wow.
You call it the bolita. That was fun for me. I'll never forget that.
Wow.
Because my dad said, you can buy anything you want to. That's amazing. That's awesome when somebody tells you can buy anything you want to. What do you want? You can buy. I said, anything. He said, you could buy anything. You could buy $5 if you want to. You can buy anything. What do you want to buy? And me, I like black walnut ice cream, right? I say, I'll just buy me a big box of black walnut ice cream, you know. But some of the finer things that we played together, we go to Silver Springs. That was a good thing to go to. It was segregated too. You had a place for the blacks, a place for the whites. But I used to have a few pictures we took that at Silver Springs. But we have picnics out there at least once a year. You know, my mother belonged to the organization, one of the organizations that was around. I can't remember the organization. But the Lily White. It was a religious-based organization. A lot of people. We were member 127. And as I grew, I loved to work with kids, you know. And I like working with old people too, anybody, because usually if anybody asked us to do something, they asked our parents.